The rain has been speaking to the harbour glass for a long time now. Soft harbour rain, not a storm that asks you to run for cover, just a patient sound on windows that face the water, quiet enough that you could almost mistake it for silence if you were not listening with the part of the mind that still likes company. Somewhere along a quiet street near the docks, fog has gathered the way wool gathers warmth, slowly, without announcement. Lamps make soft gold circles in the mist. Puddles hold small lights. And if a harbour inn waits with its door not hurried and a lamp still glowing in the lobby, that light does not compete with the night. It only marks a place where someone might arrive without needing a reason. You do not have to do anything here. You do not have to keep a schedule. If your eyes want to close, they may. I will speak slowly. The rain will continue, and nothing urgent will be asked of you tonight. This is a quiet place for quiet stories. Soft lore of inns after dark, told the way someone might tell it if they were sitting beside you with no need to prove anything. There will be no sudden turns, no demand that you stay alert. Only rain, fog, warm wood, and a voice that does not mind if you drift away in the middle of a sentence. So settle if you can. Let your shoulders drop. Let the next breath be a little longer than the last. We are already inside. The harbour outside is only weather and water, and the key left for a guest to arrive softly, if it waits nearby, is only company.
If you look around, or if you only imagine looking around, you will notice how much of a harbour inn at night is made for stillness. Wooden floors that have learned the quiet of late footsteps. A lobby that keeps one lamp burning in a circle small enough for tired eyes. Chairs that face the window as if they remember people who once watched the fog and then chose sleep. The air smells faintly of rain on salt wood, of old varnish, and of wool coats that have dried near a warm corner. It is not a sharp smell. It is the kind that belongs to rooms after the last loud day has thinned away, and to thresholds that have held both arrival and rest. Somewhere in the inn's memory, a key was set down carefully, and the setting down was enough. Above the harbour, the sky is a deep charcoal cloth, soft at the edges, more like a blanket than a stage. If lights still show from boats or far lamps, they are not hard, bright coins. They are pale friends behind fog, silvering the wet street without asking you to look out and stay awake. Inside, a single lamp, or only the idea of one, may keep a small amber island on a desk or a side table. Its light is soft and limited, which is a kindness. A wide, bright place can ask too much of tired eyes. A small circle is enough.
There may be a key on a soft cloth near the ledger, left as if someone expected a late guest who would not need to knock loudly. There may be a chair turned slightly toward the door in welcome. There may be a window beaded with rain, looking out on fog that has made the harbour feel closer and quieter at once. Soft evidence that people have been gentle here. If your mind is still carrying the noise of the day, you can set it down on the wooden floor beside the lamplight. You do not have to organize it. You do not have to solve it. This inn has held heavier weather than one ordinary evening, and it is still standing.
Notice, too, how little the night asks of your face. No one is waiting for your reaction. No screen is brightening to pull you forward. The only flicker is the lamp, and even that is steady enough to trust. In a world often rewards alertness. This is a small permission slip written in fog and amber. You may become less available now. The wood is cool if you imagine resting a hand on the banister. Not cold enough to startle. Cool the way living rooms are cool at night. Patient, older than your lists, willing to hold the quiet without complaint. The rain continues its long letter on the glass. You do not need to answer it. Listening is enough. Somewhere a floorboard may shift once under its own old habit, and then think better of it. These are not interruptions. They are proof that the building is a living shelter, settling itself the way a body does in sleep, automatically, without drama. Listen again to the rain. It has not changed its mind. It will keep its steady conversation with the harbour windows while we stay. And if, far beyond the fog, the soft night continues its larger quiet over the water, let it be only company, sound, not a task, a large dark friend that does not need you to keep watch. There is a story told about places like this, not as a warning and not as a claim that must be proven, only as something the night seems willing to hold. It is said that some harbour inns keep a second kind of welcome for people who arrive after the town has gone soft. Not loud, not dramatic, simply the idea that a key can wait when a guest is no longer in a hurry. In the soft tellings from many ports, people speak of doors that did not need a firm knock, or of rooms that were ready because someone had practiced readiness as a habit rather than a performance. The stories are gentle. They sound like good manners practiced by a house itself without a show. People who tell the tale sometimes speak of fog and harbour lamps in different ways. What matters is not the catalogue of docks and ships. What matters is the habit at the centre. Arrival without force. Welcome without performance. Care for the traveller who is tired of being clever about where they are going. You do not need to believe in anything unusual. You only need to believe that a door can feel kinder when no one is racing through it. That is the calm heart of it. A mind can rest. A day can end without a perfect itinerary. Coming home, or coming to a temporary home, can exist without a finish line tonight. In one telling, a traveller once stepped under a porch roof after soft rain and felt a strange relief, not because they needed rescuing, but because the inn looked ready for rest. A lamp making its small gold island, a key left on cloth, as if the house already knew a soft knock might come later. Fog has soft colour rather than weather to conquer. Predictable gentleness is a kind of lullaby for the mind. It says, the next moment will resemble this one. You may soften. If this were a different kind of story, someone might invent urgency or a night of trouble. Here, we can call it a habit of belonging made soft enough for sleep. The inn stays kind because someone, over and over, chose to treat ordinary quiet as something that does not need an audience. You can pretend, if you like, that such care rests somewhere in this lobby now, not as a mystery to solve, only as a shape of calm. You do not need to finish a journey. Knowing the night can hold a late arrival without urgency is already a kind of company, like knowing a blanket is at the foot of the bed even when you are not cold. There is another turn to the story, quieter better than the first. It says that such keys never meant to impress anyone. They simply preferred a place where thought could breathe at the end of a day. Some tellers speak of them the way gardeners speak of soil, not because they answer in words, but because care sounds better when it is spoken softly. A version of the tale mentions a desk near a rainy window, where fog made the street lamps look almost silver at the edges. On that desk, a key waited only when the guest arrived without hurry. No one in the soft tellings was required to choose forever between perfect progress and rest in a single night. The story allowed temporary stops, temporary stillness, a hand allowed to put the day down and still be a careful hand. Some people hearing this imagine many rooms, a long corridor of soft carpet, a small sitting nook, a window that looks towards still water. Others imagine only one lamp, one key on cloth, and rain writing the same long letter on glass. Whether those details are true does not matter much. Sleep does not require footnotes. It requires a room that does not jab the nerves. And if, somewhere in the lore of quiet harbours, soft care is still practicing its one gentle trick, making less of the day without making a scene, then it is doing what we are doing now, returning again and again to emotions soft enough to rest beside. Let that story rest for a moment. You can keep it if it feels warm in your hands. You can set it down if your mind has already begun to soften around the edges. Either way, return with me to the lobby as it is. The lamp is still making its small gold island on the wood. The rain is still writing the same long letter on the windows. The chairs have not moved. They do not need to. Movement is not the only proof that something is alive. Patience is another. If your eyes have closed, keep them closed. If they are half open, that is fine too. There is no test at the end of this hour. There is only the continuing rain and the next soft story waiting in the quiet. About a key left for a guest who arrives softly, and welcome that does not need an announcement. You do not have to keep watch tonight. Something careful was left ready before you arrived. That is enough. Near the quieter end of the lobby, past the first soft rug, before the stairs become a darker line of wood, there is a key that the second story likes to mention. Some nights, if you stand there now in imagination, you can almost invent the quiet of it. A small metal shape left on cloth, a little of the night's cool welcome in its weight. Nothing grand, nothing demanded, only the shape of belonging without fuss. The tale belongs to people who understood that not every kindness needs to be the size of a festival. The great arrivals have their work. The ordinary evening has another. At the end of careful days, a key might wait not as a prize under contest, but as soft manners, the way a porch light is left for someone coming home late. And those who passed later, under a hood of tired thoughts, or only the patient harbour rain, sometimes said the inn felt less alone. Less alone in this telling is not a crowd. It is a clearance of pressure. Tomorrow's lists can wait. Tomorrow's cleverness can wait on a shelf at home. Tonight the lobby holds only itself, and a little soft shadow that does not mind being there, and the soft drip of water from a sill that has decided to let go. It was not a rule written on a sign. It was a habit. Leave a little readiness for the night. Open when opening is kind. Then rest where a lamp makes a circle people who saw such things did not always take the room. Sometimes seeing was enough. They would stand under an overhang of quiet, shake rain from their sleeves in the mind only, and feel their breath lengthen because the house had decided for a few hours not to ask anything of them. That is a quiet kind of magic, not the kind that rearranges storms, the kind that rearranges hurry into something smaller. In one version of the tale, a young person once asked why anyone would trust a key left for a guest who had not yet arrived. An elder answered, without making a speech of it, because some doors open only when your hand is not clenched. In another version, there is no young person and no elder, only the key and the rain and the simple fact of welcome that does not keep score. What matters is not the exact century or the exact custom. What matters is the decision, repeated until it became part of the inn's weather. Offer rest. Not for legend, not for bargain, for the possibility of one tired person arriving without earning the night first. Of course, stories grow soft edges when told for years. Some say the key was always a little warmer than the metal around it, not dramatically, not in a way that demanded explanation, only the way a place feels when someone has been kind there recently. Some say later keepers continued the habit of leaving a soft welcome without knowing the first reason, the way people inherit a recipe and keep making it because the house smells right when they do. If you want a moral, it can be simple. You do not need to carry every unfinished task into the dark. A room can be empty of hurry and still be complete. A mind can set down its cargo and still be itself in the morning. And if no one takes the key tonight, it still holds its quiet shape for the person who left it carefully. Rest, even unnoticed, steadies the house. Rest steadies the night. So let the quiet key glow in your mind for a moment. Small metal on soft cloth, lamp gold on wood, folk silver on glass. Then walk with me, if you like, away from the farthest corridor and back toward the deeper quiet of one soft lobby, where the lamp continues its own soft duty. The two kinds of care do not compete. One greets the long night of unfinished maps. One keeps company in the near quiet. Between them, a person can cross from the weather of the day into rest. Above the harbour, if fog is still practicing its slow fold over the water, it does not mind the smaller lamp nearby. Care has room for more than one scale. A fork for the long dark, a niche of gold for the near dark, a voice for the mind that is ready to set the day down. You can imagine a soft turning without a locked gate, not closed against the world in anger, only turned the way a page is turned when the chapter is enough for tonight. The rain remains on the windows, still speaking. You remain in the lobby, still aloud. If a thought arrives about unfinished lists, let it hang its coat on a peg of patience and wait. The peg is patient. The list can stay unfinished. The inn in the story never asked anyone to earn the night first. If you are still with me, even softly, we can take a slow walk through the quiet inn. There is no place you must reach in a hurry. The walk itself can be a resting place if we do it in imagination only, one quiet step at a time. Underfoot, the floor is soft where ordinary knights have travelled the same line from door to stairs. Your steps, if you invent them, can be slower than usual. There is no one behind you asking you to hurry. The banister, if there is a banister near your hand, is cool and steady under a palm that can rest lightly. At a place where the windows face the harbour, the rain becomes a closer companion, still patient, still writing its silver lines. That is a lovely balance. Weather outside, shelter of wood around you, voice nearby. Many of the best nights in a life are made of exactly that triangle. You might pause where the glass shows only soft fog night and water-beaded light. You do not need to see a far shore. Knowing the harbour is large is enough. Knowing you are not required to manage it is better. These rooms were shaped by people who kept simple care and did it without drama. You can borrow that posture now. Hold one simple task. Breathe. If you imagine a short step farther, only in the mind, past a corridor of doors the colour of quiet wood and soft shadow, you may see or invent a room that does not need to be claimed. Quiet without fuss, kind without speech. Then turn back. Returning is part of the comfort. In sleep stories, we do not leave you on long, empty corridors. We bring you home to the same lamp, the same circle of gold, the same patient weather. On the way back, you may pass a key that does not need to be taken tonight. You may pass a chair that leads only to more quiet. Sit again, if you like, near the rainy window. The soft key remembers how to wait for a person who has set down their day. Let your hands rest, open or closed. Both are correct. Let your jaw soften by a single degree. That degree is enough to begin. The stories can settle now, the way mist settles into the softest hollow when no one is measuring it, not as neglect, but as peace. Stories of harbour inns after hours, keys left for guests who arrive softly. You can keep them as you keep a smooth stone from a quiet shore, not because you must explain them, but because they feel steady in the pocket of the mind. Around you, the quiet harbour inn continues its night work of simply existing. Wood holds, glass receives the rain, the lamp spends its light carefully. None of these things demand applause. They are reliable in the way sleep wants the world to be reliable. No sudden rearrangements, no tests, no raised voices. If your thoughts still wander, you do not have to catch them. Let them wander the quiet aisles of the inn without you. They will tire eventually and find a corner. You can stay here, in the warm circle, breathing at the pace of rain. There is nothing you fail to finish by resting. There is nothing you must earn before the next breath. The day can remain outside, with its wet street and unfinished lists. This lobby was made for the opposite of urgency. You do not have to keep watch. Soft care, if it rests in the story only, rests without needing your hand. The key, if it waits on cloth in gentle gold, waits without needing your eyes. Your only task, if you want one, is to let the shoulders drop another fraction, speak less now. The rain will take the larger share of the sound. If words continue in your head after mine thin out, let them be soft ones. Fog, lamp, key, rain, home. You are allowed to sleep. You are allowed to leave the stories half remembered. You are allowed to wake later with only the feeling of rain remaining, and perhaps a soft harbour key that means nothing more urgent than the night was kept, and so will you. Rest well. The quiet inn will keep its quiet watch. The lamp will not mind if you do not see it. And above the harbour, without needing an audience, the soft rain will go on speaking gently to the glass, long after my voice becomes only a soft edge of memory, and the key continues being only metal, only welcome, only rest.